وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. Your Lord does not forget. Your Lord does not forget your harm. He doesn't forget your pain. He doesn't forget when you were alone. He doesn't forget when no one had your back. Your Lord does not forget you. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. He has not forgotten. It could feel that way, and it's very painful to feel that way, but your Lord does not forget. SubhanAllah, you see this even play out on the Day of Judgment with Nuh alayhi salam. When the prophets stand and their people are there, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you as an ummah will bear witness on that day. And Nuh, who was rejected by his people, 950 years, and only has a handful of followers. When Nuh is asked, did he deliver the message? And those that deny from his people will say, no, Allah will call you. You used to recite the Quran, Surah Nuh. You used to recite the ayat about Nuh alayhi salam, and you testify. Allah did not forget. And Allah Azza wa Jal has appointed you to not forget that as well. Imagine Nuh alayhi salam seeing an ummah of billions of people witnessing on his behalf and saying, no, we remember, Inna arsalna Nuhan ila qawmih, that we sent Noah to his people. So you testify on their behalf. And that is also why Imam Ahmad rahimahullah said that sometimes you forget a harm that you did because the person that you harmed is very forgiving. It might be that you did something and someone just took it. And that person had their own relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where they were just trying to internalize that in a way that they would elevate themselves in His sight. And so they swallowed their anger. They moved on. And you thought that because that person was not responding to you as viciously as you were to them, that it's all done with because that person's not mentioning it. Sometimes the person forgives you, but Allah has not forgiven you. Sometimes a person seeks forgiveness from Allah for a transgression they do against someone else, but they don't go back to that person. And that's not appropriate either. You have to go to that person that you wronged and seek forgiveness and try to make things right. Because your forgiveness now involves not just God, it involves the person as well. Sometimes the opposite can hold true, to where a person does their istighfar and they say, you know what, it doesn't seem like this person really cares. They don't remember, they don't bring it up anymore, but you need to go rectify things and make sure that you've been forgiven. Because on the Day of Judgment, you don't want that to come back. وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. Your Lord does not forget. Now your Lord overlooks. Your Lord forgives. Your Lord turns sins into good deeds. Your Lord takes the most hopeless person and grants them the greatest forms of mercy. All of that is true, but He doesn't forget. And that is something that has to resonate with you in a very specific way. You say something carelessly, you do something carelessly, you don't look twice, and you think that this will not confront you once again. It may very well confront you once again. On the other hand, O you who have been wronged, your Lord has not forgotten you. O you who has seen your transgressor, your oppressor walk, your Lord has not forgotten you. O you who seems to be under the crushing power of another creation of Allah, know that the Creator will take them and take you. And you will one day stand in front of your Creator together, and all of that is going to be litigated. Don't forget, your Lord has not forgotten. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. That doesn't mean that we don't feel pain. That simply means that we remember that Allah has not forgotten us, even when everybody else has forgotten us. And at the same time, we seek to remember Allah when others have forgotten Him, and we seek to remember those who others have forgotten for the sake of Allah. So there is dhikrullah, the remembrance of Allah, and there is a dhikr lillah, remembering someone else for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that's been forgotten. Don't forget people. Don't forget people. As a community, we have to ask ourselves who's missing. We have to ask ourselves who's still hurting. And we don't forget people. We don't forget causes, even when they become deeply unpopular causes.